Hi, I'm Tara Antonellis. I'm a level 2 quantum healing hypnosis practitioner, a Hellenistic astrologer. I read tarot and I also do Reiki. This is my podcast. Welcome to Seeking Beyond.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Seeking Beyond. This is my co host, Holly.
Hello.
We are going to actually make our first toast to our first time podcasting together.
This has been a long time coming.
Since like 2020, we've been talking about this.
Stakingly so.
Cheers to, what was it?
Cheers. I don't remember.
Celebrating our authenticity. That's what it was.
That's right. Celebrating our authenticity. That means y'all get to see all of the imperfections and we're gonna be okay with it.
It's just like it's recorded because it won't otherwise. Cheers. No backing out now. Hello. All right. So today I am going to be talking about the Merkaba. And I guess I will go ahead and go first. We can argue and banter about that later on in other podcasts.
Oh, this is your podcast.
Well,
For the record.
definitely sharing it. So, all right. So the Merkaba is actually a sacred geometric shape, but it has a lot of symbolic spiritual meaning. It was basically created in the dawn of time, and you can find it in the Hebrew religion, and it's got Egyptian origins.
Is it like sacred geometry?
Yes, very. It's actually got multiple shapes together, two tetrahedrons. I think I wrote it down somewhere, but I can't find it. But it's basically two triangles in three-dimensional shape.
Three-dimensional.
Yeah. One is pointing up and one is pointing down. And it's a symbol of balance, actually. And take notes.
I'm gonna draw because I'm a visual learner, so I gotta see it.
Perfect. Yeah.
And
It's actually.
And then like halfway through.
And then pointing down. Yep. The triangle edges come out just a smidget more. Okay. So you're not far off, but
keep talking.
Basically the top one is pointing towards masculinity and the bottom is pointing towards femininity. You got the up, the down, you've got the cosmos and the earth. Yep, you can look at her super artistic skills.
I'm an artist, but I'm
not don't judge her off this.
This is the one. This one, not that one.
Yeah, there you go.
That one.
So basically, it's a symbol of balance, and it's a representation of as above, so below. Yeah. So you're merging the heavens and the earth, the divine and the human, and it's actually been considered like a ship. Yeah, a light body ship. So people have used this in meditation, and it's basically getting those energies flowing in a state of balance, and it elevates your frequency. And it's been a symbol for meditation for a long time.
I know a lot of people have it tattooed.
There's
a lot of tattoos.
It had a huge resurgence since the whole New Age awakening.
By the way,
absolutely, we are part of it.
As long as it's like the real information.
Yeah,
and not
celebrating our authenticity. But when you break down the word Merkaba, it actually Mer means light, Ka means spirit, and Ba is body. So it's literally balancing and merging light, spirit, body. Yeah. So if you take this symbol and you use it to meditate on, it's been known to help with astral traveling, and it's considered how we travel into inner dimensions. So when we're sleeping at night, it's always there. It's our light body, basically, and it's auric. So completely encompassing us about 5 feet around us. And it's just balancing those energies in our body. So the entire symbol, one will spin clockwise, that's the masculine, and then the other one will spin counterclockwise, and that's the feminine. And as you're creating that energy flow, it starts to speed up and it accelerates, and it's really magical. It helps create a protective chariot energetically. It's known as the chariot as well. And yeah, so it was 100 BCE to 1000 BCE with the book Ezekiel when it was first mentioned ever. So it's got some ancient origins, and it's been known to help us access a higher state of consciousness.
So it goes across cultures
Yeah.
and across centuries.
I mean, it's even it can be seen as Christian as well, because it's got that Trinity that is represented too as well. Like, it's in all kinds of different religions, but first known with Egyptian and Hebrew background.
So I have an interesting little tidbit, if that's
Share,
okay.
please. Yes, we need the tidbits, all the tidbits.
About 22 years ago, when I was in massage therapy school, I was, I'll go into this later, but they basically gave us a triangle, but only one, and it was mind, body, spirit, and they like expanded upon just the one triangle, mind, body, spirit, in our physical manipulation of the physical body. Now I'm curious because my energy healing was kind of a side note, a spinoff of my LMT. So in my energy healing,
background,
I learned kind of the other half of that, and it wasn't until this moment just now until I kind of connected those two things.
It happens like that sometimes. I do that all the time with astrology and tarot and how they all intersect in life, and
I find it really interesting that feminine is counterclockwise and masculine is clockwise.
But you know what? In astrology, it's the same way. When you have a day chart and a night chart, the day chart is masculine ruled, the night chart is feminine ruled. It's almost like, and it's the underworld versus the upper world of the chart.
We should actually deep dive into that topic and make a totally different podcast.
I mean, we need the ideas.
We need to know why.
That's typically what where there is up, there is down, where there's in, there is out.
I know, but I want to know why.
Golden.
Why is feminine counter and masculine like clockwise?
Yeah, I would too. It's like, sometimes I have it, the bluer energy for women and the
it's vibrational.
Yeah, and then red with the maybe, yeah, because in needing to receive in, and we got the phallic that penetrates. Yeah, off topic. Get back on track.
Continue.
So yeah, the feminine pulls from within the earth, the masculine draws from the heavens. And it's an energy field, a union resulting in activation of light and protection, and it can transport your consciousness to higher dimensions, and I am all about that. So if you are using this in your practice work, it's a symbol for protection, and if you plan on doing spell work at the time, this can help give you another talisman of protection. I used to have one. I ended up being a little too harsh on it. Yeah, and it flattened. It was no longer a triangle. It's like
Herkimer diamond inside it?
Inside of Herkimer diamond inside of it. It was actually, I'm not gonna say where I got that from, because that's free publicity. Y'all can hit me up in the DMs for that. But yeah, so that is a little bit about the Merkaba, and it is basically some keywords: balance, unity, and a portal.
Do you have and it's okay if not, because we can dive into this and answer questions and comments and such. But a question that I have is, how would you utilize this symbol in a 2D? As in, can you use it like a sigil? Okay.
Yep.
So how would you...
Triangle pointing up, halfway in the middle of the triangle, like you just drew.
Like this.
And you could even draw that in salt as you're doing a spell casting. Yeah. You can use it for candle work, carving that into a candle.
Yeah. can I ask you to do something while I say this next thing?
Sure.
Can you grab your phone and look up the Jewish symbol? I forget what it's called. And of course, we're not meaning to
we are learning as we go, so we are sharing and we are
being
raw. We are not experts.
ignorance.
You know what we failed to do is to
Get there.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so you said looking up
the Jewish I forget what it's called. Okay, the reason I bring this
Star
up
David.
is yes, the Star of David.
That's how it's used in yes. That's what I'm saying. They have had its origins in the Hebrew Jewish. That's where it really
didn't
is.
connect that.
Yeah.
I didn't, so I just looked at it.
So that was actually
I made a piece for a friend who lives about 2 hours south of us. He's Jewish.
That's so sweet.
And he commissioned me for this piece for his wife, and it sits in their dining room, which is super cool. But
so you've actually created this
yeah,
the Merkaba for others.
I created it out of one piece of wood. I carved it all out. And I'll tell you, I remember that piece specifically. I actually felt super, usually when I create an art piece, especially if it's commissioned,
Yeah.
I have like these peaks of anxiety. And then I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm like, oh, I'm such a
Gosh, we relate so much, so similarly.
This was so cathartic, I guess, from start to finish. Like it was just so easy. I feel like I kind of was able to dip into this, a state of just creativity that didn't have the peaks and the valleys. It was just like a steady, hey, this is super cool. Well, I'm going to do this. Oh, this worked out. Oh, that's so pretty.
So, you could actually use this for inspiration as well.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your whole artistic session that day had a theme behind it of flow state and balance.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it until now. Now I know. So I guess my next question is, because I know it's going to come up probably in the comments, is this, if I were to utilize this as a sigil, is this considered appropriation? And this is a really good question, and it's a great topic for conversation. And I encourage anybody who decides to ask this question or have an opinion on this or comment on it, please, 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 anything in our comment section, in your comment section, should be coming from a place of either learning, so there's no dumb question, or teaching. So we're not going to belittle anybody who is genuinely curious or genuinely wants to learn about this, and we absolutely will not tolerate any kind of bashing.
But to answer your question, no. This is a human. It has its origins in Hebrew because that's where the start of humanity kind of came from, that area. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. A little controversial, but yeah. So that's when we first started seeing it was 100 BCE, Egyptian time period. Like, so it came from the man of time, like sacred geometry. Yeah. So, cool. Everybody can use this symbol. Our bodies, if you look at the Vitruvian man, I think I said that right. Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, so he has the arms out, and then the where the knees are is the other bottom of the triangle pointing up. Our body you can see it in the art piece.
It calculates a lot of geometric shapes,
right?
Using the human body.
Yep. So our body actually is the vessel. The Merkaba is our auric field around us, our spirit body, and that's kind of what we were discussing earlier today about when we pass and we shed our body and become a light body. That's essentially what we are traveling in, and people have been able to actually access this and astral travel in their meditations and really wickedly wild out there stuff, and it's great and exciting. And man, I wish I could do that and hope I can one day.
We'll get there.
Imagine what you could go and like snoop on as you're astral traveling. Like, anyway.
Yeah, one of my well, it's not.
Yeah. So, Holly, please introduce yourself before you start on your topic.
Introduce myself. Oh,
No pressure.
Topic. Yes, my name is Holly Rene Artistry. I'm a local artist here in Tennessee, and anything dangerous you can do to art, um, or to wood, that's kind of what I do. Transitioning into resin and paint just because my body is telling me that it's time to ease up a little bit.
So,
So-
what led you down finding your mystical, magical self?
It's a loaded question, but I'll keep it real short.
Your awakening.
My awakening. So funny. It's not until just, I'm 43, and it's not until just recently that I've been able to kind of look back. When you asked me that question, I was like, yeah, when was that? And I thought I had a date, and then I was like, well, but before, but before, but before. And so I've
get that.
actually, yeah,
Mhm.
tracked it way back to, I was like 7 or 8 years old. And
Mhm.
I had this, I thought it had actually happened. And long story short, I was sitting at the kitchen table with my mom, and my dad, he was at work. And I remember my mom sitting there saying, I wonder where your dad is. And I was like, oh, he got fired. And my mom looked at me, she's like, what? I was like, yeah, last night he stood right there, he crossed his arms, and he said, well, I got fired. And before my mom could say anything, my dad walked in the door.
Oh my God.
He shut the door. He stood. He looked at us. He crossed his arms. He looked up.
In front of your mom?
Fired. Yes.
Oh, that's so perfect.
And my
too.
mom looked at me, and she just like sheet white, and she panicked. So,
Yeah, that's a little creepy though,
yeah.
because it has that condensation.
But the backstory to that is my mother, devout Mormon, LDS, Latter day Saint, Mormon, right? So anything divination type is it's very like you're supposed to stay away from all of
Not
that because it's
understanding that at all.
right?
Probably terrifying.
Grandma, so my great grandma could see auras, and I don't know, I don't remember if she was mediumship or just like I don't remember.
You didn't talk about all
But
that either.
you know, my mom, I love my mother. She's amazing. She is like the angel. She was the angelic side of my upbringing, and my dad was the devil side of the upbringing. I do not say dad ignorantly. And so I had this duality growing up, right? So I had this Mormon mother. I didn't really care too much about the Mormonism. I could never really get on board with that. But the empathy and the love and all of the positivity that came out of that, you know, the family unit, that stuff with me.
Community.
And then my dad had this like polar opposite side to him. And so I learned what not to do there. And somewhere in between, I had this rebellious side. And that's where I started like, I was so, I was so drawn to, I was told that D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, never, so awful, never, never. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And and I go to this bookstore, and there's this book on candle magic, and I'm like, and we go and buy the candles, and we're like secretly in my closet doing candle. I'm like 12 years old, closet too,
Top shelf.
And so then, you know, as I get older and all that transpired, and you know, I start having children, so I go abruptly from this very rebellious stage as a 20-year-old into my 21, pregnant into my 21st year. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be a good mother. And so I gravitated back towards Mormonism. But it never
You
sat
heathen,
right.
you.
Right? It never sat right. And the only thing that ever got me peace was gardening. And now, looking back, my grandma, my mother's mother, my grandma, every weekend, I would find sanctuary at my grandma's house. And we would garden and we would cook. And she taught me about, herbs and spices. And we would sit and watch the Broncos play football. And she'd let me paint her nails and do her hair. And I distinctly remember she would teach me to talk to the plants. Talk to the plants, nurture the plant. Like she basically taught me how to connect with earth magic.
Yes.
And herbalism and my intuition. She's the one who really just taught me about intuition. So I have my empathy and my people, my love from my godly from my mother and all of this magical stuff from my grandma, and then my what not to do. So yeah,
Good way to put it.
Hawaii for, we basically raised the kids in Hawaii, and I was kind of in this limbo state, right? Because my husband would deploy and we were Mormon. And then during his deployment, both of us were just like, oh, this is bullshit. Until he goes back to deployment, I'm like, no, like, good. No,
This is
like,
not celebrating our authenticity.
and we couldn't answer. And so it took a few years of like, back and forth. And now I realized we would go every weekend, we would go to the ocean, and I just lay in the salt water, and I would just, float in the salt water, and I would come out feeling new. Now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was doing a cleansing. I was doing ritual cleansing
Yep.
every weekend, and I would just feel so much better.
All those minerals too.
And and now I know that there's science behind that. What we used to call magic is physics.
Love that.
It's all one and the same.
It is
So
metaphysics.
yeah, and then when we got to Tennessee, he was gone on a trip, and I remember walking outside my house. I was walking my dog, and I was utterly alone.
You don't say dog.
Yeah,
It's Obi, by the way. Sorry,
dog.
it just is what it is.
It is. City. Um, and I remember, well, it was a really windy day. It was a different kind of wind that I was used to. And I thought, oh my God, I'm a witch. And like this huge gust of wind came, and I'm like,
That Gemini sun too. Air.
and like tears flowed, and all of a sudden I just felt this crazy connection. Incidentally, the first time I had ever really felt it was when I did that candle magic in my closet as a little kid. And the second time I felt it was when I was on the island and I was in the ocean. And I just felt so
got that fire, water, earth, air.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
So that's kind of my origin story.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. I do not know that story either, so I knew a little bit of it, but
I typically don't talk about it.
So what are you telling us and teaching us about today?
Okay, so I've given this a lot of thought, like a lot of thought for years and years. Well, like I have nothing to contribute. I don't know. And so, in the spirit of just being authentic, okay, what am I thinking about now? I'm thinking about learning a lot about manifestation. So one of the first things you learn when you are on your path to any kind of witchcraft or healing, when healer, witch, it all kind of is all the same thing.
Yeah.
I started learning about manifestation, and when I was first taught about it by others, they're like, "Oh, intention is everything. Just intention. You have the intention, you set the intention, and you're going to get what you want." And I'm like,
So, what'd you do your topic on?
all right. So I thought long and hard about what I wanted to talk about. So many topics, but I wanted to bring it kind of back to the basics, and I chose manifestation.
The core of all witchcraft.
Exactly, which I feel like is being kind of skewed in social media.
Yeah.
And well, I don't think it's intentional.
Right.
People are are regurgitating.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right. You don't know what you don't know. So I feel like this is a really good topic to kind of start out with, especially with a new podcast and with people who may be witchcraft curious.
Still in the closet.
Perhaps still in the closet.
Down the
Has been in the closet
closet.
for many, 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 many years. So I get it. But you hear a lot of terms thrown around like intention. Set intention. Intention is everything. You can't manifest without intention. Manifestation. Manifest on the people started manifesting on the full moon, which we'll get into that. But um uh I feel like kind of diving into a simpler topic.
The essentials of it.
It really is because you get I feel like there's a honeymoon phase with witchcraft.
Oh, I love that.
There's a honeymoon phase where you're like, I'm a witch.
Yeah.
And that term has a very broad meaning.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
For so many people. But I
You know,
feel
the Latin origins
please tell
of
me.
witch is strega,
I
which
didn't know
means wise woman. Yes.
that. Is that the Italian?
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Latin,
Italian.
yeah.
Latin. What I love about calling myself a witch is it feels like liberation.
Yeah.
And I feel like across the board, no matter how you describe witchcraft or witch, it's liberation.
Yeah.
And then secondly, it's healing.
There's an archetype for sure.
Yeah, energetic healing. Like it knowledgeable about
Wise woman.
About wise women, yes. Herbalist.
Wise person.
Wise person. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
But it did mean woman back in the day because
Because typically the women were the ones who followed intuition and not so much ego.
blame it on the
Yeah.
woman.
So anyway, blame it on the women.
Oh no, I have a mole.
Which one?
It's her teeth.
Anyway,
Your familiar suckles your teeth.
anyway, so
Hmm.
the craft, the path, whatever. You don't have to identify as a witch or any kind of. I mean, manifesting is something that kind of stands alone. It's a part of that path, but it's a part of many paths.
Absolutely.
I mean, you think about prayer. You know, I grew up Mormon, so
I mean, that's what it is.
And there's a very fine line between manifesting and wishing and prayer. Like it all kind of, when you really break it down, which I'm about to do, when you really break it down, it is the same thing. And it has energetic repercussions. So we'll dive into manifestation. So manifesting, yes, setting an intention is so important. Intention setting is done in your head with thought, right? Sorry. We're being authentic, so it's okay. So first there's thought, right? And there's words, and there's emotion, and there's action. And the emotion, words, and action can come in different
order.
Yes, in different order. But first, there's always thought. And so when it comes to manifesting, you can sit here and be like, okay, I manifest. I manifest $5,000. Right? You see this all over TikTok. You see it all over YouTube. Just type yes to claim, like, you know, 111, 444, 222. You know, they try to put in all this numerology, and those are actually called synchronicities, by the way. I'm going to get into that in another podcast. But when it comes to manifesting, you first have this thought, like this wish, this desire, okay, and in order to take your thought to action, like a call to action, right? You have to have this cohesiveness between your thoughts and your powerhouse. And this has been scientifically proven. The most powerful part of your entire being is your heart space,
Yep.
right? It has been
There's a little brain inside your heart.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it there's an electromagnetic field that goes from your heart outward, and it is powered by your emotion.
Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yes. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
no, I love that.
Yeah. I love him.
So, breaking it down, I used to teach art to third, fourth, and fifth graders. So I'm going to talk to y'all like you're third, fourth, and fifth grade. So
Hey,
you
sometimes
break
I
it.
need that.
I know I do. When you break it down, you must have a cohesiveness between your thought and your emotion, right? There's a dissonance. It's called dissonance. There's a distance, a separation that happens when you sit here and you're like, I want $5,000. I need $5,000. Okay, well, break those words down, right? Your thought is, I am in need. Your words are, I need. So you cannot have oh, I'm so thankful for $5,000 and I really need $5,000 at the same time. You cannot, that is not cohesion. That
Right.
is dissonance. That's distance. It is a separation. When there is a separation, there is no manifestation.
I love that.
Right? So, they have measured different emotions that get emitted, right? They've tested this. There's,
The
go
snowflakes.
Google yourself.
Yeah.
Always ask why whenever you hear anybody say anything, especially me. Ask why and then go research it yourself
Yes, please.
and learn and figure it out because knowledge is power. But
Yeah, with the studies with water and how talking to plants and snowflakes.
yeah,
And
so the most powerful, beautiful crystal that has been seen in some of these experiments that you have referenced is you take water droplets and they put them on a petri dish and they label them with different words and each day somebody goes and they speak those words into those dishes and the water came from the same source. They're petri dishes, like there's no external stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not a scientist. You go in and you speak because when you speak, there's
drinks of that.
vibration that comes out of your mouth that does stuff because of all energy vibration.
Yes.
So you speak the words love and gratitude together to the same petri dish, and it is the most perfect, beautiful, crystalline crystal that there is.
I love that.
And so this is a scientifically experimented thing that has been proven over and
I've
over and over again.
experimented with this. I actually like started my day listing off all the things I've been thankful for and just trying to be in that state of gratitude because I have heard about this from Joe Dispenza and I've tried to implement it in my life and I could see a ripple effect. And it's not only affecting me, but also the collective around me. It's just like that pay it forward type of energy as you're smiling and being in a place of gratitude despite the circumstances that you're dealt. It has a ripple effect. And I think that's kind of like the whole point of this ascension that's happening right now is people are learning how to do this and in their own little places and pockets in the world they're creating little oops,
Sorry.
sorry but it's creating like elevation and ascension in these areas and
Literally raises your vibration.
yeah
And when you raise your vibration, people around you pick it up and their vibration starts to raise. And the ripple effect is a perfect example of how, like a visual of how this works.
yeah
Right. I love that. Yeah, no, it's so true. And but I want to touch on the other part of this. Okay. So we sit here, now we understand how manifestation works, right? So you think it and then you feel it. And love and gratitude are the highest vibration. They're the strongest emitted from your heart space that affects everybody else, that does the ripple effect, right? So even if you sit here and you're like, okay, $5,000. I want $5,000. I need, and then you're like, okay, want and need. Okay, that gives you a feeling of lack, which is not conducive. It's not cohesive to what. Okay, I have 5,000. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for this 5,000 I have. Oh my gosh, I can see it. It's in my hands. I have this $5,000. I'm so grateful. That moment of gratitude that fits your narrative in your mind and the words that you're speaking, that is manifestation. That is cohesiveness. But not only that, what if you're the type of person that just learned this? So, for example, for myself, I'm 43 years old. I have 43 years I did not know this. 43 years I've been holding on to this negativity, right? The lack, the want.
Why not me?
Right. The want, the lack, these things that are literally blocking and preventing me from receiving what I'm trying to manifest.
You create your reality, and if you stay in a state of need, you will continue to need.
Exactly. So when you think about it, look at this glass of water, right?
Ooh.
I have
Visuals.
still to over that. I'm a visual learner, so I have to do. Like I said, I taught art to little kids, so I got to show you. So I have this glass of water, and this is my cup, and it is full, right? It is full of. I need $5,000. I don't have $5,000. I am lacking $5,000. I don't believe I deserve $5,000. I haven't done enough to earn 5,000, right? All of these things. Okay, well, I'm trying to get this $5,000, but I don't have any more room to receive it.
There you go.
I don't have any room to receive this $5,000. So what do I need to do? I need to release the fear of not having it. I have to release the I don't have it. I'm never going to get it.
Oh my God.
I don't deserve it. All of these things, I release these things, and now what happens? Now suddenly I have room to receive. I have room to receive what I'm trying to manifest.
That was very powerful. So good.
Teacher.
I thought for sure water was going to go everywhere.
Oh, look,
You did so good.
Anyway,
I love that.
That's kind of like the fundamental basics.
Yeah, before you, like you said, the first step is in thought form. So before anything can happen, you got to make sure you have the thought form correct.
Yeah. Before anything was created, there was a thought. There was an idea.
Reality has
And
to
then
do
it
with
was
the
spoken.
mind.
And then it was felt. And then it was created. So if you think about it that way, when you think about your manifestation and then align it with the moon phases.
Oh, there we go.
So a lot of people go full moon manifestation. And I'm like, it's really don't do it. So you think of the moon phases, right? So the moon is full and it's at its peak. It's like, thank you for everything I've received, the fullness of all of it. What comes next? What comes next is the starting of the diminishing. So it makes more sense to be like, I'm so full, I need to release. So full moon, you do releasing things, right? And then the phase goes from waning. So waning crescent, waning gibbous, waning, I don't know if that was in the right order. Sorry, my ADHD brain is like, but you do the waning phase and it is a diminishing phase. It's a releasing, it's a lessening, it's a becoming empty, right? Yes. you get to right before the new moon.
Yes.
And some people, myself included, think of the dark moon, which is 0% full,
Mhm.
and the new moon as
Just
1%
two
full,
yeah.
as different.
Yeah.
But there are some people who feel that energy as one and the same, and that's okay. It's just a subtle energetic difference, right? Some people feel it more subtly than others, and it's where you're drawn to. There's no like rules to that. If that's what you're drawn to, then do that.
Yeah.
And
In
that's
astrology,
okay.
there is. So,
Well, astrology is a little more mathematical,
yeah.
precise.
So I get you. So there's like, I get what you're saying, but there is actually that preciseness.
And that's why you speak astrology and I do not.
But I love that. That's great.
So that's not a
You see a deeper dive into the moon phases too, but I like that. It was like a nice little
yeah. But just think
little bit.
new moon, new idea, new light planting the seed, going from the darkness and breaking through the crust into a new idea, and then you nurture, 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 nurture until it's fruitful and big and huge. And then you're like, okay, what do I need to release in order to bring more of this in? And that's what you do. Moon, and then you start all over again.
I love it. It's that the secular death, rebirth, transformation cycle kind of deal. Awesome. I think we did great for our first podcast together that we've talked about for years.
Oh, years and years.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Glad you stayed this long.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.